your general form should have been something along the lines of right? This is what you're playing with. There are a couple of people that wrote with the general form, but that's what we should have been aiming for. What did you guys get for the internal rate of return of asset A?
1.12.
22.5. Asset B? I can't hear. 19.7. Asset C? 16.7. And asset D? 11.9. So we all have agreed that those are the internal rate of returns that we had. Did anyone get anything different? And what I'm trying to do is find out why you got something different. The most frequent reason not to get something different is to forget that term right there. That's the most frequent reason to get something a little bit different. Figuring out that, it should be a 1 on 2, 1 on 3, 1 on 5 seems to be the part that people miss on this one. So did anyone get anything different then? All right. Hearing none, let's go ahead and have a couple of quick questions then. If the minimum acceptable rate of return was 10%, which assets would you get? Minimum acceptable rate of return was 10%, which assets would you get? You would go ahead and get all of them. You'd get A because, is this thing a loan or an investment? See, it's an investment because it costs you money now, gets you money later. Another way to spot that it's an investment is if you add up the cash flows, which is essentially what you do when you say the interest rate is 0. You notice that there's a positive number, so you get more out of it. Loans tend to, when you add up just the flows, cost you more. So, all of these right here look like investments to you, correct? All right, so as long as the internal rate of return is greater than minimum acceptable, even though it's an investment, you should buy it. So at 10%, you see that you get all of them? What about at 15%? Which assets do you get?
A, B, C.
A, B, and C. You don't get D. I said all but D because it's a little bit below. What about at 20%? Which ones do you get? A only because it's the one that has the 22% internal rate of return, which is greater than your minimum acceptable. So that criteria seems relatively simple. Now what I'd like you to do is calculate for me the present worth when the minimum acceptable rate of return is 10%. Again, split it up. This should be something you can do. I'm going to go ahead and take the camera from you so I can go ahead and make people dizzy. Minimum acceptable rate of return is 10%. And give a nice shot of the screen on what the results are so far. Okay, minimum acceptable rate of return when the interest rate is 10%. All yours. Again, this should be easy, something we've done before. It's one of those required skills that you get when you are.
Yeah, I think we did that last class. At least